The Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. A grand promise, a diplomatic handshake, a ceasefire signed in ink so thin it might as well have been written in disappearing ink. Sunday was supposed to be the day Israeli forces packed up their war machines, waved a reluctant goodbye, and let the Lebanese return to what was left of their homes. Instead, at least 15 people were killed, 83 were wounded, and an entire region was once again reminded that promises, much like peace, are disposable when Israel decides they are. Promises, promises. According to the ceasefire agreement brokered by the US and France, because when have Middle Eastern nations ever had a say in their own affairs? Israeli troops were supposed to be out by 2 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time on Sunday. That deadline came and went like a poorly attended New Year's Eve party, with Israel still very much in place and fully armed. What? Well, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that tireless defender of selective international law, declared that Lebanon was to blame. Apparently, Hezbollah hadn't pulled back far enough for Israel's liking. Never mind that the agreement already outlined the required pullback. Never mind that the Lebanese army and UN peacekeepers were supposed to take over. When Israel wants to stall, it just moves the goalposts, and in this case it moved them over a pile of bodies. Deadlines? We don't do those. Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health confirmed the bloody results of Israel's latest military indulgence. Civilians and at least one Lebanese soldier were among the dead, many more wounded, and dozens of villages still off-limits for displaced residents hoping to return home. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, ever the beacon of creative storytelling, claimed their prolonged stay was necessary because Hezbollah's withdrawal wasn't quite up to snuff. Of course, there was no independent confirmation of this claim, just Israel's word, and if history is any guide, their word is worth about as much as a ceasefire agreement in a war zone. Lebanon's displaced, a never-ending crisis. For over a year, the people of southern Lebanon have been caught between Israeli airstrikes and political posturing. Families have been living in limbo, waiting to return to homes that may or may not still be standing. And just when they were told they could finally go back, they were instead met with gunfire. Lebanese Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri, clearly exhausted from years of stating the obvious, called Sunday's violence a clear and urgent call for the international community to act immediately and compel Israel to withdraw from occupied Lebanese territories. He might as well have been screaming into the void. The UN's peacekeeping mission, UNIFIL, and the UN envoy to Lebanon responded with their signature move, issuing a concerned statement. They acknowledged that conditions are not yet in place for the safe return of Lebanese citizens. That's diplomatic speak for, it's a disaster, but all we can do is politely ask Israel to stop killing people. The pattern we can't seem to break. This is not new. This is not unique. This is the same script we've seen played out time and time again. An agreement is signed, Israel finds an excuse to delay, people die, the international community expresses concern, and nothing changes. Rinse and repeat. Israel's withdrawal delay is not about security, it's about control. By dragging this out, Israel sends a clear message. It decides when and how ceasefires work, and international agreements mean nothing if they don't align with its military and political interests. Meanwhile, the people of Lebanon, who have already endured decades of war, displacement, and devastation, are left in the crossfire, their homes and futures dictated by a foreign military power that treats ceasefires like New Year's resolutions. Good in theory, ignored in practice. Where do we go from here? The sad reality is that there will be no accountability. Israel will continue to act with impunity, the international community will issue more strongly worded letters, and Lebanon's people will bear the cost. The 60-day deadline for Israel's withdrawal came and went, and with it, any illusion that this ceasefire was anything more than a brief intermission in an ongoing tragedy. At this rate, southern Lebanon might as well set up a permanent welcome sign for the IDF. After all, Israel's understanding of a withdrawal seems to be about as solid as its respect for international agreements. Until the world holds Israel accountable, we can expect more bloodshed, more broken promises, and more diplomatic tap dancing around the truth. Occupation by any other name is still occupation.